Chapter 12. The End of It All. I had never seen the church so full as it was that next Sunday morning, not even at Christmas. It was a service, the vicar said, not just for one but for two fine men of the Briar who had given their lives for us all. I did not hear much of what he said. He had that kind of droning, dreary voice that is impossible to listen to for very long. I remember sitting in the front pew with Mother on one side of me and Daniel on the other, and feeling very important and not nearly as sad as I knew I should be. I prayed though, or I tried to, but it came out as a thought rather than a prayer in the end. I was thinking how good it would be if Father and the Birdman were to meet up in heaven, and I wondered what they would say about me. Daniel sat hunched up in a stiff collar beside me, his hair unnaturally slicked down. On the way home afterwards, we walked along together. Daniel was angry. "They still don't trust him," he said. "After all he's done for them, they still don't believe him. Father told me to keep off Samson. Says he wants to be sure the curse is finished. He says only time will tell. He's still scared, Gracie. They're all scared, except Auntie Mildred. She's not scared of anything. Only one way to prove it to them, Gracie. We'll have to go and fetch that horn back. If they see that, they'll have to believe everything then, won't they? Even Father, even Big Tim." But for 2 weeks after the memorial service, the winter gales came and lashed the islands and not a boat could move out of Briar. It was too dangerous even to cross the shelter channel to Tresco. That meant there was no school, and I was grateful for that. We had brought Prince back to live with us in South Hill Cottage, and those horrible goats came too, much to my disgust. Mother said someone had to look after them. I wanted Daniel to look after them, but Daniel's father would not have any animals near his house, and so I found myself milking them twice a day. We had to leave the Birdman's hens and friend up on a heavy hill, not because we wanted to, but because we could not catch them. Each day during the gales, Daniel and I went up there to feed them, hoping to be able to catch them and bring them home, but they were always too wily for us, even when they were hungry. Then one morning we woke up and the wind had died. The tamarisk tree outside my window was still at last. I lay there beside Mother, hoping the sea would be too restless after the storm for us to go to school that day. I did think it was strange when the church bell began to ring, for by my reckoning it was a Monday morning. But I was quite content to believe that I was wrong and that I had another day without school. So I lay back on my pillow and was almost asleep again when Mother sat up suddenly. "It's not Sunday," she said. "The church bell's ringing and it's not Sunday." "You sure it isn't Sunday?" I asked. "It could be, couldn't it?" "It's Monday, Gracie," Mother said. "And a fine day by the look of it. And you're going to school. Out of bed with you." "Then why are they ringing the bell if it's Monday?" I asked. "No idea, but whatever it is can wait until after breakfast." Mother climbed out of bed. "Come on now, Gracie. Hurry, else you'll miss the school boat." She looked across the bed at me. "And just so you won't miss the boat, I'll walk you down to the quay. We can find out then why they're ringing that bell." Prince came with us, sniffing every gateway as we passed, his tail constantly circling, and all the while we picked up the path, the bell ringing and ringing. Daniel was not waiting for me as he usually was, and every house we passed seemed to be empty, the front doors flung open wide and left there. The bell had stopped ringing by the time we reached Auntie Mildred's house. We were just passing her gate when we first heard the crowd. As we rounded the bend, we saw the quay below us was full of people. You could not see the quay for the crowd. The school boat was there, but no one was getting into it. There was another boat beside it, one that often came from St. Mary's. Everyone was laughing and clapping and cheering, and then one of them, a man in blue it was hoisted on their shoulders, and they began to march in a great cavalcade up the path towards us. Prince sat down as he often did when he needed time to consider things. "Who's that, Gracie?" Mother said, her eyes squinting into the sun. "What's all the fuss about?" Daniel was hurrying up the path towards us and shouting at us as he came. "That'll show them, Gracie. That'll show them. Now they'll have to believe us. It's over, just like he promised. The curse of Samson is over. Can't you see who it is, Gracie? Can't you see?" And now I could see. Mother saw it too, but she could not believe her eyes. As they set my father down on his feet again, one of them handed him a stick, and the crowd fell silent around him. He looked at Mother, then took off his sailor's cap. "Bit late for breakfast, am I, Clemmy?" Mother stared at him. Well, don't look at me like that. It's me, Clemmy. Honest it is. They tell me I'm supposed to be dead and drowned, but I'm not. Didn't they tell you I was coming? No, by the look on your face, I don't think they have done. What do I have to prove it to you? Here, take my hand, Clemmy. Feel that. It's me, isn't it? Tell me it's me, or I'll begin to doubt it myself. I had my ship sunk from under me, Clemmy. Torpedoed off Gallipoli, she was. Went down in 2 minutes. There was no one else left alive in the water except me. I hung onto a bit of the lifeboat for a whole day and night, and then a fishing boat picked me up. You can't believe it, can you? Well, neither could I can tell you. I'm a lucky fellow, Clemmy. I don't deserve to be here, but I am. I've got sick leave. Knocked my leg a bit when I fell into the water, but I won't be needing this old stick for too long. Father looked down at me. Ride home, Gracie, he said. Just off to school, were you? Well, Mr. Well-Beloved will have to do without you for a day, won't he? Hop up, he said, crouching down, and I jumped onto his shoulders. Clemmy, he said, and took her hand. I could eat a horse. That same afternoon, every boat on Briar set out over a sun-dancing sea for Samson. No one stayed behind, not even Big Tim. Mind you, I did notice he was the last one to set foot on Samson when we got there. They marveled at the horn above the fireplace in the cottage, and everyone wanted to touch it just to be sure it was not made of wood. We roamed the island from end to end. The great black rabbits were everywhere, and Prince chased them ineffectually all afternoon. He rampaged over the island like a wild thing, and I found him stretched out on the bed in the birdman's cottage, his tongue lolling out of his mouth and dripping. He's thirsty, I said. Needs a drink. There'll be water in the well now, said Daniel. I know there will be. There has to be. And we ran down the hillside together, Prince bounding along after us. Sure enough, the well was full to the brim. We all three lay down on the ground, put our faces in it, and drank together. Everyone drank from the well on Samson that day as if it were the elixir of life, and after that no one ever doubted the birdman story. Not in my hearing anyway. If you ever go down to the Isles of Scilly, go over to Samson and look round for yourself. The old ruined cottages are still there, a mound of limpet shells outside each one, and you'll find the well full of water. No one lives there, so you'll have only the terns and the black rabbits for company. You'll be quite alone.